On November 18, this TikTok of a woman desperate for answers went viral.
This is a message for my niece. In case she's watching this, I know that this is getting spread. Hannah Kobayashi, we are looking for you. We are not, or will we ever give up on you?
7 days earlier, 30-year-old Hannah Kobayashi seemingly vanished into thin air, a disappearance that sparked a nationwide search and a flurry of unanswered questions. And just as the family began a frantic search for Hannah, her father was mysteriously found dead near her last known whereabouts.
Hannah Kobayashi's father, Ryan, was found dead early this morning in a parking lot near the airport.
What was going on? Was Hannah taken? Or was she running from something or someone? Potentially her very own family? But then, on December 16, a letter allegedly from Hannah herself took the perplexing nature of this case to a whole other level. Hannah Kobayashi had planned to travel to New York City to tour museums and visit galleries, a bucket list trip for the budding artist. Her journey began on November 8 with a flight from Hawaii to Los Angeles, where she was scheduled to catch a connecting flight from Los Angeles International Airport to New York that same evening. But Hannah never made that second flight. "Hey, are you in New York yet?" Hannah's mother texted on November 9. "Not yet," Hannah replied. But by that point, her mother knew something wasn't right.
It was weird because the flight that she was supposed to go on had already flown.
Hannah, however, had a reasonable explanation. The 30-year-old told her sister Sydney that she had missed her connecting flight and was struggling to rebook, calming any worries that the family might have had. That day Hannah texted her mother, Hannah left LAX and was seen at a bookstore at the Grove, a shopping mall in LA. During this time, she made 2 Venmo transactions, one to Veronica Almerendez at 6:25 p.m. and another to Jonathan Taylor at 7:19 p.m. Neither name was familiar to the family. Later that evening, Hannah returned to LAX and made a call to an aunt she was planning to visit in New York. "This is a nightmare. I don't understand what's going on with these airlines. I'm trying to get to you," she said, but no word after that. On November 10th, Hannah was seen once again at the Grove. This time, she was captured on video during an event at the Nike store promoting the LeBron 22 trial experience. She also posted a photo from the event on her Instagram profile. The final known contact with Hannah came on Monday, November 11, when the conversation took a deeply unsettling turn. From LAX, Hannah texted a friend. "Deep hackers wiped my identity, stole all of my funds, and have had me on a mind since Friday. I just finished a very intense spiritual awakening. I'm heading back to the airport to get to NYC. I might need some help getting there." In another message, she said, "I got tricked pretty much into giving away all my funds for someone I thought I loved. I have been on the streets." These messages only heightened her family's concern.
It sounded very cryptic or like it just was not her.
According to her sister Sydney, Hannah texted her that she was scared and that she couldn't come back home, or something to that effect. "It was just really weird texts," the sister said.
There's just something off about it, so I wasn't too sure. I don't know if it's her or if someone else was texting.
Then, without warning, all contact was lost. Calls to Hannah stopped going through. Texts would no longer deliver. Her phone, the family realized, had been turned off. All they had to go off was her last pin location, LAX. Where was Hannah? Naturally, panic grew. After 4 days of silence, the family filed a missing person report with the Los Angeles Police Department on November 14. The investigation began immediately and was soon joined by the FBI. But as time ticked on, Hannah's trail grew colder and colder.
Hannah Kobayashi hasn't been heard from in nearly a week after suddenly disappearing on her cross-country trip to New York.
It has been 9 days since Hannah Kobayashi's cell phone was last detected at the Los Angeles airport.
It's now been 10 days since a Maui woman was reported missing.
It's been 16 days since Hannah Kobayashi disappeared in Los Angeles.
Despite the efforts of her family and law enforcement, the search for answers only led to more questions. Was Hannah still in LA? Had she made her way to New York? Was she somewhere else entirely? Investigators only had one lead to go off of: the text messages. Had Hannah hinted at something she couldn't say out loud in these conversations? Or had Hannah been the one communicating it all? Former FBI agent and Justice contributor Jennifer Coffindaffer expressed doubts about the authenticity of the messages.
Listen, this does not sound like anything that she would write. And that's what the family is saying here. It's not going with how she texts or her vernacular.
But while Hannah might not have sounded like herself in these conversations, that didn't mean someone else had been texting. One Reddit user speculated, sounds like she was a victim of a romance scam. A potential mental health crisis also became a popular theory online. It kind of sounds like some kind of schizophrenic episode or something. Her texts seem pretty paranoid, but they also don't make much sense. She sounds like someone who is disconnecting from reality and afraid of something she believes is real, but can't seem to express what's going on to her friend. Dr. Todd Grande, a professional counselor and expert in mental health and human behavior, also suggested that the text may reflect a deeper psychological struggle.
In my opinion, it is reasonable to believe that Hannah had control over her phone, and she was the one who sent the messages. There are a few terms that Hannah used in her messages which support the idea that psychosis may have been present, specifically delusions. These are fixed false beliefs. For example, Hannah made a reference to an intense spiritual awakening. This is often observed in people with grandiose delusions.
After days of searching with no significant leads, law enforcement finally uncovered a major clue. New surveillance footage revealed that Hannah had left LAX on November 11, shortly after her phone was turned off. She was seen standing in front of a Union station purchasing a ticket, after which she boarded a metro. But she wasn't alone. That's right, Hannah had been accompanied by an unidentified man. But who was this man? And why was Hannah with him? Her family was blindsided. They didn't know this individual. Hannah had never mentioned him. Even more concerning, they noted that she didn't appear to be in good condition. Her aunt, Larry Pigeon, stated, "Our mind is now going to abduction, and I hate to say the word, but trafficked." Still, the family's search efforts continued. Hannah's father, Ryan Kobayashi, flew to LA immediately after learning of his daughter's disappearance. During the next 2 weeks, he devoted himself to the search, holding posters, distributing flyers, and organizing rallies.
Just to get the word out and, and hopefully bring her back home.
Unfortunately, as the search grew more desperate, the strain began to take a toll, not just on the case, but on those closest to Hannah. What followed was a heartbreaking turn of events.
Hannah Kobayashi's father, Ryan, was found dead today near LAX.
Police say that Hannah Kobayashi's father, Ryan, was found dead early this morning in a parking lot near the airport.
Just a few hours later, Rad Movement, a nonprofit that was helping the Kobayashi family to find Hannah, released a statement. The Kobayashi family endured a devastating tragedy today. After tirelessly searching throughout Los Angeles for 13 days, Hannah's father, Ryan Kobayashi, tragically took his own life. This loss has compounded the family's suffering immeasurably. Sydney opened up to News Nation about the toll her sister's case had taken on her father.
He genuinely fought until his last breath to find my sister, and he gave it his all. He deprived himself of sleep. He wasn't eating. He was only caring about everybody else's feelings but his own. And if any of us would have seen this coming, we would have done our best to prevent it.
Still, to many, the father's actions seemed rash, leading to speculation that there was more to the story than met the eye. Who killed this father? Was the father getting too close to solving his daughter's mystery? It sounds like she got kidnapped. Her dad got blackmailed and didn't call in any police help. Maybe he tried to trick the kidnappers, causing more demise. Not adding up. Was father feeling guilty about something? One Reddit user pointed out, "It seems unlikely that a parent would fly to the mainland to look for their child, have multiple reported sightings of child, which would bring hope, but then themselves? There, away from home, when the evidence seems to be suggesting his daughter is alive? My mind is melting." But while Ryan's death brought the search to an emotional standstill, the case was far from over. Just when it seemed the mystery couldn't grow more bizarre, a new development surfaced, one that shifted the investigation in an entirely new direction. On December 3rd, the LAPD released a public statement.
We reviewed video surveillance from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which clearly shows Kobayashi crossing the United States border on foot into Mexico. She was alone with her luggage and appeared unharmed.
Yes, Hannah was alive and, from the looks of things, safe. The footage revealed that Hannah crossed the border on November 12th, seemingly of her own free will. As for the public reaction, well, people were confused. Why did Hannah cross the border into Mexico alone? Was she running from something or someone? And if she wasn't in danger, what could have driven her to disappear? Immediately after this discovery, Chief Jim McDonnell of the LAPD addressed the public.
At this time, Kobayashi's case has been classified as a voluntary missing person. To date, the investigation has not uncovered any evidence that Kobayashi is being trafficked or is the victim of foul play.
McDonnell also confirmed that the investigation would not continue in Mexico.
She has a right to her privacy, and we respect her choices.
The family, however, didn't believe this mystery had been solved. Knowing Hannah crossed the border does not provide the answers I need, nor does it ease the heartbreak I feel, Hannah's aunt told People magazine. What alarms me even more is her complete disconnection from her phone, her social media, and her world. This is not who she is, and I can't shake the last messages she sent friends and family, which I replayed in my mind 1,000 times, trying to make sense of it but still cannot. Hannah's sister Sydney also rejected the idea that Hannah willingly crossed the border.
I feel like she is in danger. I feel like this is completely out of character for her. I've known her my entire life. She's been one of my best friends, especially after, if she had seen what happened with my father and his passing, she would have definitely reached out by now.
The Kobayashi family attorney, Sarah Azari, announced plans to continue a private investigation.
I disagree with the LAPD, and I work with the LAPD all the time, and their conclusion that she's not in danger. We don't know that. They saw her allegedly crossing the border about 2 weeks ago. We don't know what's happened to her since then.
Are you actively trying to find her? I mean, will you go to Mexico?
Yes, we're going to be deploying colleagues down there to help us continue the search for her down there.
However, when it came to whether Hannah should still be considered a missing person, public opinion was divided. In one camp, there were those who believed the investigation had more to uncover. There's something going on that the family is not saying. Hannah Kobayashi should still be considered a missing persons case until she is found and there's verification that she is healthy and safe. Too many red flags that suggest there's more to the story than meets the camera's eye lenses. In the other camp, some thought the case had reached a devastating conclusion, and Hannah was to blame. That is sad. Knowing what she put her family through, and even with her dad's passing, she still won't let everyone know that she's okay. She's a spoiled brat. She's selfish. I think she willingly disappeared. That poor man fell for her poor excuses. She missed her flight on purpose and fled to Mexico. She knew exactly what she was doing. Still, one critical question remained unanswered. If Hannah crossed the border willingly, as the police suggested, what drove her to abandon her life, her family, and everything she knew without explanation? Well, the LAPD had a theory.
By looking at her past social media, we then saw indications that there were some desires or posts that would be consistent in somebody who would have the desire to disconnect from their phone.
Yes, investigators believed Hannah might have simply chosen to step away from modern connectivity, prompting a nationwide search in the process. However, not everyone was convinced by this theory.
But you don't just go to Mexico on foot by yourself without having a reason to go.
Something's not adding
Something
up.
Doesn't add up. She's got to know somebody there. She
Yeah.
has to have a place where she's headed. It's just very odd.
This prompted the public to delve deeper into Hannah's past and connections. What or who might have influenced her decision to leave? As new details emerged, a new suspect entered the spotlight. Amun Muniz Miranda, Hannah's ex-boyfriend. Reports revealed that Amun was on the same flight as Hannah to LAX. Since there was no prior indication that they had reconnected, this previously unknown detail sparked intense speculation online about Amun's potential involvement. Wait, so you're saying Hannah's ex is on this? Then another piece of information surfaced, Amun's criminal record. Yup, in 2021, Amun was arrested in Texas for falsifying his identity to police, a case that was still active. This revelation reminded some of Hannah's cryptic texts before her phone went dark. I got tricked pretty much into giving away all my funds for someone I thought I loved. Was it possible Amun was up to his old tricks? The internet was suspicious. Where is he? And why isn't he a suspect? But this case took yet another turn when images began circulating online, sparking rumors of a possible wedding involving Hannah, just days before her departure to Los Angeles.
Well, I'll be damned if that ain't Hannah Kobayashi in a freaking wedding dress.
Hannah got married in Maui before she ever disappeared. She was legally married. They have pictures of them in Maui, the husband and her. And so she might have left on her own free will.
However, the man in the photos wasn't Hannah's ex-boyfriend. It was a completely new name to the case, Alan Kobashi. But who was this man, and how was he connected to Hannah's sudden disappearance? Just hours after these pictures were found, Hannah's mother discovered legal documents that tied to her daughter's marriage to an Argentinian man. These documents were immediately reported to authorities. The FBI began to look at Hannah's case as a potential green card visa scheme gone wrong. Further reports revealed that Hannah's Argentine husband was also on the flight to LAX with Hannah and her ex-boyfriend, who it turned out had recently married Alan's girlfriend, Mariana. Yes, the pieces of the puzzle were there, but how did they fit together? Stephen Fisher, a private investigator who had been involved in Hannah's case, had his suspicions.
I learned that she had actually married a guy from Argentina in a marriage for money arrangement, and her ex-boyfriend, who was on that flight, was also in one of these marriages. I believe something did go wrong. I believe she probably didn't get her what she thought was her fair share of the money.
In response to these claims, Hannah's family released a statement. We want to stress that the family has not publicly announced any information regarding an alleged marriage because we did not have the facts or the necessary documents to verify the legitimacy of this information. The family has not confirmed the authenticity of the images or the accuracy of the information provided about a possible secret marriage. The internet, however, wasn't so quick to dismiss these new details. And soon enough, public opinion had shifted, with many now viewing Hannah not as a victim, but as a perpetrator in a criminal scheme. I can't be the only one disgusted by her and her actions. She should have to pay all the money it took toward this investigation. Hopefully, the media hounds her into being arrested for her lies. Her dad paid the ultimate price over her crazy behavior. Despite the backlash, some continued to express concern for Hannah as they couldn't rule out the possibility that something could have went wrong.
If she was hurt and betrayed by this person and they took her money and they kind of left her high and dry, and then she missed her New York trip and she was very much looking forward to it, and then she missed out on this job and she's an aspiring photographer and she's trying to make a name for herself, she might be in a very low and poor mental state.
Dr. Judy Ho, a clinical psychologist, discussed how the mounting pressure of the situation could have impacted Hannah's mental state and explained the potential psychological reasons for her disappearance. One being potential delusions brought on by psychosis, the other being something called a dissociative fugue.
And sometimes when people are under extreme stress, they essentially end up traveling great distances. Sometimes they'll even change their identity. They'll say that they forget who they are. Sometimes that's real and sometimes that's temporary, but it's thought to be a stress response. It's essentially thought to be a type of a post-traumatic stress reaction.
Yet, as theories and speculation continued, there had still been no word from Hannah since her phone went dark on November 11th.
We're really worried about you, Hannah, and no matter what situation you're in, you always have a home to come to. And just like if you could just give us a sign that you're okay or reach out or something, we're really worried, and just know that we love you.
But then, on December 12th, more than a month after Hannah vanished, there was a development. The Kobayashi family released an announcement through attorney Sarah Azari stating, "We are incredibly relieved and grateful that Hannah has been found safe." The following day, Hannah's sister Sydney addressed the situation in greater detail. "We have only spoken to her over the phone, and she was allegedly found safe with Larry, but at this time she does not wish to return to us. At this time, my mother and I have not physically seen Hannah. We do not have actual proof of where she is, other than that she is somewhere in Mexico. Lieutenant Doug Oldfield of LAPD's Missing Person Unit stated, "We have not seen her, and at this point we have no reason to compel her to see us. It's a big news story, so she may decide to come with a lawyer, but she is not obligated to speak to us." The LAPD also revealed that with this new information, the case was now considered a private matter. Sydney also posted an emotional statement on her Facebook page. "It has been 1 month since our family was thrust into the spotlight, and the pain inflicted upon us was laid bare for the entire world to see. Until yesterday, we were still in the dark about where she was. The past 31 days have been absolute hell for us, and I feel they will continue to be for a while, even as we try to transition back to some semblance of normalcy. Each day brought the unbearable uncertainty of whether my sister was alive or dead. Losing my father to during this ordeal was more than my soul and heart could bear." In the same post, Sydney addressed the GoFundMe fundraiser the family had set up, which had raised nearly $50,000 by then. "My mother and I have remained completely transparent and have not misled or taken advantage of anyone. While the GoFundMe lists my mother as the beneficiary, we have kept all the receipts to show where the funds have been used for the search for my sister." She also stated that donors who want a refund could place a claim by December 18th. However, the short refund window quickly drew criticism from those who had contributed to the campaign. IMO, they should extend the refund deadline beyond the 18th. A 5-day window does not seem long enough, and many may not become aware of the refund offer in time. All donations should be auto-refunded. They shouldn't hold on to a damn cent. Whatever isn't refunded needs to be donated elsewhere. And while many were relieved that Hannah was found safe, questions lingered about the circumstances of her disappearance and the consequences of the chaos left in its wake. After all, what led to her involvement in this alleged shady operation? Was it desperation, manipulation, or something else entirely? New details emerged when Hannah's co-worker at Up in Smoke, Desiree, went to the press with disturbing insights into the events leading up to Hannah's sudden disappearance. The co-worker alleged that Hannah had entered a green card marriage with Argentinian national Alan Kobashi. For this arrangement, Alan had reportedly paid her $15,000 up front, promising an additional $15,000 once his immigration documents were finalized. The co-worker claimed the marriage, which took place in October, was part of a plan to present their union as legitimate to immigration officials. This scheme, however, allegedly was complicated when Alan and his girlfriend Marianne, who had married Hannah's ex-boyfriend Amun, joined the New York trip. The Argentinian couple wanted to hop on the trip at the last minute because it presented an opportunity for photos of their romantic vacation, Desiree told the Daily Mail. Hannah was reportedly reluctant to include them, particularly her ex-boyfriend, but agreed to dedicate 1 day of her planned vacation to the required photos to sell the marriage. Co-workers also revealed text exchanges with Amun after Hannah's family reported her missing. When confronted about why he didn't alert the family after she disappeared, Amun dismissed responsibility, claiming, "She's an adult, and I'd heard she'd also possibly had plans in Cali. I have no reason to get off a plane and miss my time on my own trip for something I thought was as simple as just missing one flight." The ex-boyfriend also defended Alan, texting, "Her husband is sweet and just a little guy and wouldn't hurt a fly. He has nothing to do with any of this." Amun speculated that Hannah's disappearance might have been related to a mental health crisis or drug use, referencing her alleged past struggles. But as everyone from family to co-workers and past flames spoke out, the one person who could set the record straight remained silent. That is until December 15. Yes, in a letter sent to NBC by her aunt, Hannah broke her silence. But what did the 30-year-old have to say that could explain all the missing pieces of this puzzle? "I was unaware of everything that was happening in the media while I was away, and I am still processing it all," Hannah wrote. She claimed she had returned to the US on December 14. "My focus now is on my healing, my peace, and my creativity," she said. "I am deeply grateful to my family and everyone who has shown me kindness and compassion during this time. I kindly ask for respect for myself, my family, and my loved ones as I navigate through this challenging time. Thank you for your understanding." And that was it. No explanation for dropping off the face of the earth. No recounting of her time in Mexico. No addressing the allegations of an immigration scheme. Nothing. Naturally, the internet was not satisfied.
not saying she has to address it, but a lot of people feel like she didn't even address her father's passing. Let's say she knew, right? That would make a lot of people upset because authorities used their resources to try and find her when she wasn't actually missing.
Yes, there was no shortage of criticism online, as internet users theorized Hannah had disappeared for attention and began referring to the 30-year-old as a narcissist, a deadbeat daughter, and a liar worthy of jail time. Still, some remained uncertain Hannah was truly safe and sound. Are we sure? We haven't seen her. How do we know this is true? However, in an article from People, Lieutenant Doug Oldfield of the LAPD confirmed that Hannah had crossed the border into the US and that she appeared to be in good health and did not appear to be under any distress. But while the case is now officially closed, missing pieces remain. And the only person who can fill in these blanks is the same person who created this puzzle in the first place, Hannah Kobayashi. As for whether she will provide the public with the clarity they're still searching for, that remains to be seen. While you're here, consider subscribing and check out our other video about Nancy Ng, a woman who disappeared from her trip, a case that is still unsolved.